Hello, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world, and be very welcome to the Wake Up Your Eyes free 4-part masterclass lesson number 3. We already released the video a couple of days ago, and now we have the live where we're going to talk about how to free your emotions to see clearly again. And we are in the middle of a 4-part free masterclass where we're delivering the equivalent of 300,000, sorry, 300, not 300,000, $300 worth of value for free. It is the equivalent of a weekend workshop that you could take in Europe, in North America, and this is the amount of information you could get, and this is what you would pay, but we are giving it away for free, thanks to the magic of the internet, and of course, to the commitment of the amazing ClearSight Method team and all the visionaries that are participating. And of course, thanks to the more than 21,000 participants that we've had over the years in our paid programs that allow us to do this service for free. And today we're going to talk about the relationship between emotions and eyesight. We're going to explain the emotional root cause of over 15 eyesight symptoms. So it's very likely that you will get the answers for whatever symptom you've been having, and all the symptoms that you've heard your family and friends have, and maybe some more as well. If we don't mention something that you would be interested in, you can write it in the chat, and we'll see if we have the time to talk about it. In any case, we're going to go deeper on the content of lesson number 3. We're going to review the symptom translation technique, and we'll likely do an exercise to illustrate the principles and the processes that we're talking about. So you're going to feel it in your own blood and flesh, in your own body. You are going to explain certainly the symptoms you've been having, where we will answer common questions that we receive when we share lesson number 3. And you will be able also to discover and hear the stories of other people. Maria is just doing palming. Voila. So you have the opportunity to share about your success stories with natural vision improvement, and in particular with this emotional level that we're going to be talking about it. And if all these people have been able to do this, well, guess what? You can too. And you are participating in actually this free 4-part masterclass, Wake Up Your Eyes. We've had over 4 million participants all over the world doing this over the years. And we've reached all the countries in the world except North Korea so far. Maybe one day we'll get people participating there. In any case, we always like to know where you are participating from. So I see Soraya is here from Canada. Thank you for your kind words. And certainly more people are joining from other parts. Okay, and yeah, we would like to know where you are from, and if you wear glasses or contacts, and if you've had surgeries or you're afraid of having surgery. Well, certainly you are in the right place, because here we're talking about the things you need to discover and learn so you can take care of your eyesight naturally to see clearly again. And if you know other people around you that have issues with their eyesight, you can, of course, share this information, share the links, share the YouTube channel, share the registration links, etc., so that they can also discover what we're teaching. Yes, and they're going to be very grateful, certainly. And we'd like to know you're interested or engaged. And I see people that are coming back over the lives. That's very nice. So Christine from California, who wears contacts and glasses and is excited not to need them anymore soon. Yay! We're rooting for you. And we also have Charu from New Jersey, but currently in India, who wears glasses and contacts. And Vish from South Africa, very nice group of diverse people from many places. And so if you are here in the third live after so many days and you're participating again, I think you're showing that you are engaged, and that is great. You're going to have rewards from that. Have you watched lessons number 1 and 2, the videos and the lives? And have you watched video number 3 where I was talking about the emotions? I hope so. And if you have, did you identify the situation or the stress or the moment or the event, the emotion that it left or the stress that it left, that is keeping you from seeing clearly? And I see that's also Soraya from the Niagara Falls in Canada. And we also have Tesfaye from Ethiopia. So nice to have you. Okay, have you noticed what was that situation, that moment, that event where your eyesight started declining? And do you have keys about what may have been behind? And I see Kirsten is saying, I've learned so much. It's really amazing. Yes, I've watched all 3 and I identified the situation. Great, good for you. So now you have more tools to transform it. And we're going to talk more about this today. So if you identified the situation, the moment, the stress, what did you realize? What have you learned about yourself so far? Huh? And do you want to see clearly? Do you want to learn more? Do you want to have more insight so that you can have more eyesight? Yeah, and they say that the eyes are the windows to the soul, and it is not just a saying; it's literal. So your way of seeing reflects your way of being, and when there's something going wrong with your way of seeing, you have lost sight of yourself. And when you clarify that and you become more authentic again, you have both benefits of being more relieved and more happy and seeing clearly again. I see that Christine is also saying, it was so fascinating to learn the emotional causes of eye issues, so illuminating. Very happy for you. Okay, so just to remind very quickly, so we are in the middle of this free 4-part masterclass, Wake Up Your Eyes. And if you want, you can still make sure that you'll also participate in lesson number 4. We will give some highlights about what lesson number 4 is going to be about towards the end of today's live. And we're going to release the video tomorrow, and we will have the closing party live on Sunday. The schedules are the usual schedules. So the pre-recorded video you're going to receive by email or by WhatsApp. So make sure that you register. Please, team, if you could share the link on the chat again so people can register. And the lives have a schedule. It's the same as today. So it's 12 noon Pacific in LA, Seattle, Vancouver, 2 p.m. Central, Dallas, in Chicago, Dallas, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, 3 p.m. Eastern in New York, Miami, Toronto, Quebec. And that would be for Europe, 8 p.m. in London, Dublin, Lisbon, or 9 p.m. in Amsterdam, Berlin, Paris, Rome, Madrid. So voila, make sure that you're registered so you don't miss the last 2 pieces that are coming soon. Yeah, because we're going to go in depth also in more elements that you want to know and learn so that you can improve your eyesight naturally. And I'm seeing also Gio Kisho. Thank you, Dr. Ainhoa, from Singapore. You have cataracts in one eye. Well, guess what? You could get rid of them without needing the surgery. We've had many people achieve that. So you just need to learn the good habits to take care of your eyes so that you can leave the cataract behind. And Christine, I have myopia and astigmatism unidentified with everything you shared about them. Great. So now you have some more keys so that you can get rid of them as well. And in case you are coming here for the first time and you're wondering who's this lady talking about improving eyesight naturally, I'm going to give a couple of pieces of information about it. I'll make it quite quick because I imagine most people watching already heard about who I am in the previous live and lessons. So I'll take a slightly different angle this time. Yeah, well, first of all, I am Dr. Ainhoa de Federico. I have 2 PhDs, one in France, one in Spain, and I became recipient of a honorary doctorate in Mexico last year. I'm a researcher and professor at the University of Toulouse in France, creator of the ClearSight Method, director of the first degree for training, university degree for training vision coaches, the professionals of natural vision improvement, and I am the director of the International Center for Vision Coaching at the International University of Human Development and Leadership. And all these activities around the ClearSight Method and natural vision improvement, of course, have the aim to teach people how to see clearly again with their own eyes, without glasses or surgery. So this is my life's work. This is my mission and purpose. And we'll talk about this in a minute. Yes. I think over the last few lessons and lives, I have talked about myself professionally a lot and how I've been working on this field for over 20 years. And I think I've shown you already a lot about what I know. So I'd like to say a few words more, not just about what I think and what I know, but how it touches my heart and how I feel about it and how that motivates me to take action. So there's an alignment between thought, emotion, and action, right? For me, in this purpose that I have. And I hope to inspire you to do the same in this field or maybe in other fields in your life. So about what I know also, and I've mentioned this before, at the end of 2019, the World Health Organization published a report on the state of eyesight and vision in the world, the first international report of eyesight in the world. And the World Health Organization was evaluating that 1/3 of the world population already had vision symptoms, even though, said the World Health Organization, 80% of them are preventable or curable. And at the time, that report said that by 2050, it would be half the world population that would have vision problems, which is huge, especially when 80% are preventable and curable. And as I mentioned before, there's already 100 years of cumulative research showing how to take care of your eyes and improve your eyesight naturally. So this doesn't need to be. But as you all know, in 2020, right, we got COVID-19, there was a lockdown in many parts of the world, and there was a lot of stress. People were worried about their own health and their beloved ones, and they couldn't see them. And they had to face grief and learning how to live at home for so many months and how to work at home. And maybe some people lost jobs or were worried about the economy. Anyway, there was a lot of emotional stress. Today we're going to talk about this. And there were also many other factors like not being exposed to natural sunlight, moving less, more sedentary life, more artificial environments, being in front of screens. And all this combo made that a lot of both specialized journals and the media were making people aware that vision problems were accelerating a lot during 2020. The increase of vision problems were skyrocketing. So British publications on evaluation on eyesight in the world actually redressed the estimation that the World Health Organization had done in 2019, stating that because of the quick worsening of eyesight during 2020 and the bad habits that started then and the transformations of lifestyle, actually by 2030, half the world population would have vision problems, and by 2050, it would be everybody. So we're basically facing a global pandemic, silent pandemic. It's not going to kill us, fortunately, but it could leave us blind, and that's not much better, really. So I read this information, and I boil inside with inspiration and enthusiasm and motivation to put this information out in the world. If I know about natural vision improvement and I'm reading about these facts, I absolutely take the responsibility to go out in the front and teach the world, teach people about how to take care of their eyesight and improve their vision naturally. And not just me, the idea is to create a global movement of inspired, enlightened people to teach others how to take care of their eyesight and improve their vision naturally. Like after the World War, we learned collectively how to brush our teeth, and now we are having much healthier mouths and teeth for life, right? So we want to do this also with eyesight, which is even more important. So we are inviting you to be part of this movement to transform this vision problem pandemic into a movement of clarity for the world. And you can be part of this movement. Of course, you can do this for yourself, and that's probably your first motivation, right? But the moment you improve your eyesight, you become a living example, a beacon of light, an inspiration, a model of what is possible. And people are going to start asking you about it. And you can inspire and invite your family to start taking care of their eyesight. So they don't have to go through presbyopia or myopia, nearsightedness, farsightedness, the need for reading glasses, and especially that they don't need to go through cataracts, glaucoma, macular degeneration that happen after you have refractive errors, after you accumulate them for years. And the result of that, after some time, is losing your eyesight. We don't want that. So here's the invitation to be part of this movement, together with me, the team of the ClearSight Method, and plenty of visionaries in the community. You have a few of them that have come today to share their stories and examples. They're being trained as vision coaches, or they have already been trained as vision educators. And in any case, you can join the movement. Yes, let's bring clarity to the world. Let's bring clarity to our own lives, and let's bring clarity to the world. So this is what I'm motivated by, and this is why I'm taking action. This is what is my vision, my mission, my contribution, my purpose in life, right? My vision is to bring clarity to the world, and I have made my mission to inspire 20 million people to take care of their eyes and improve their vision, to generate a cascading movement in the planet. When we reach the tipping point of enough people taking care of their eyesight, then it just becomes a standard, and that's what I'm aiming at. So up to now, we've had 4 million participating in the free 4-part masterclass. So we got 20% of the goal. And I also have as a goal to train 1,000 vision coaches by 2030. And guess what? Between those who finished already and those who are in training at the moment with us, we are about 230. So it's also about 20% of that goal. And we're going to keep doing it and trying to speed it up every year. So these goals are reachable. They may seem crazy, but we're actually doing it. And of course, you can be part of it. You can be part of the solution instead of being victim of the problem. And as I'm saying this, I'm seeing a couple of very big smiles that I want to share with you. Do you want to say a few words, Maria, about this? It sounds like it's been inspiring.
I think it's such a beautiful idea that we are contributing to a better health, a better world in that way, in that sense. So many people that don't know about natural vision improvement, and we want to know about it, and it's so beautiful. And I think, in my personal view, I think it's even better, because when my family sees that I wash my eyes and practice sunning, they look at me as if I was crazy. So, and they were surprised that I actually went to the eye doctor about a month ago, and my eyesight was better.
So maybe people, when they started brushing their teeth, people thought they were crazy in the beginning. Yeah, or when they started, I don't know, taking showers and putting cream on their face, or running at 6 a.m. in the morning. Others were like, what are they doing, waking up so early to go running? Yeah, but as more people know about this and practice this, well, it becomes the standard. It becomes the new normal. It becomes the norm. And that's what we want, to teach people how to take care of their eyesight and improve their vision naturally, until it becomes such a standard that it penetrates also the public systems of education. And actually, we have achieved the first part with the creation of this university degree that is officially recognized by the Ministry of Public Education in Mexico. Yeah, so, and we're working that way, because what we want is also for children to learn how to take care of their eyesight in school from the start, so that they can have that beautiful sense of seeing for life. I know that many kids, they get bullied in school when they're the ones or the only ones or the first ones to wear glasses. And that makes it difficult in the classroom because now they have to be paying attention, or if they're in the front or in the back, and maybe they cannot sit with their friends, and then they're playing sports and the things are falling all the time and they cannot climb on trees. Like, there's a lot of freedom that is lost with the
know
glasses.
that as a teacher, right?
Excuse me?
You do know that I work as a teacher right now. I had a girl last year who started having problems. She was sitting on second row and she couldn't see the blackboard.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat her on the front row and spoke to her mother a little, and I found out that she was staring at the screen for longer than she had done before. So I gave her a couple of advice, like, okay, every time use the screen less, use the mobile phone less, look far away from time to time, and try to stand less. And well, if there's something stressful about her because she had changed school, and after a few weeks she could see perfectly again. So
Yay, yay. You may have saved that girl 20 years of misfortune with her eyesight, and a lot and thousands of dollars or euros to the family in buying glasses and drops and contact lenses, etc. Another of those students, a couple days ago, she mentioned that she was in a train around Barcelona, and that she found somebody doing palming in the train. And she inquired the person, like, "Oh, are you okay, or what are you doing?" And she said, "Well, I'm doing palming, actually." "Oh, where did you learn palming?" "Well, I follow this Dr. Ainhoa de Federico on YouTube." She's like, "Yoo-hoo!" So it's becoming more normal. People are doing it. So yeah, that's great. That's why we're here. That's what we want. Mhm. Great, Maria. Diana, I also see your big big smile. You want to say something about
Yes,
this?
because, well, I enjoy so much, well, listening to Maria, of course, my fellow mate at the certification, but it's like, well, talking about emotions. This is eye-opening when you actually find the root, or something there that was behind the actual glasses or your actual eye symptom that you cannot find with the eye doctor, of course, because they don't know it. And it's good that this revolutionary movement we are creating is expanding, because many other people, even doctors, even eye doctors, should know about this to help us. Because, yeah, well, actually, we have
And they could benefit from it, because how many eye doctors, you see wearing glasses? They don't have
yeah,
good eyesight. So
yes,
it would be very good for them too, as
yes,
persons. And
yes,
we need to explain that we're actually creating a new profession. Of course, ophthalmologists are going to always be necessary. They're the ones who can diagnose the health of the eye. They can do treatments and they can perform surgeries. And sometimes those are necessary. So, I mean, it's really great that there's ophthalmologists out there. And of course, there's also optometrists. They're the ones that can evaluate the refractive error in the eye and can suggest what corrective lenses actually they don't correct, but they actually compensate for the refractive error. But there are moments in which, when the thing is very acute, or as a transitioning tool into good eyesight, well, glasses have been useful since the 12th century. We didn't have anything else. So, I mean, bless glasses that were there for centuries when we didn't know better. And even to improve eyesight naturally, glasses can have their place and their role. And great. So that's what optometrists do. And then opticians are the one who actually make the glasses and adjust them and sell the lenses, the pairs of glasses to you. Yeah. But so what do vision coaches do? Vision coaches teach you the good habits of using your eyes correctly. And not just your eyes, also your brain, your emotions, etc., and have the good habits and the good lifestyle, so that you can have good eyesight for your life, an optimal eyesight for life. So It's in other areas of our health. So if you have back pain, well, maybe you hit yourself and there was something broken. So you have traumatologists that can help there. And maybe at some point you need the help of orthopedists that are creating the crutches and the systems, right, to hold the body parts together. And that's useful sometimes to have those orthopedics. Glasses are orthopedics, yeah, and crutches. But then at some point in time, you want to recover the function of that part of your body. So you go to a physiotherapist. So vision coaches are, in a way, the physiotherapists for the eyes, or the yoga teachers that help, right? That help you have the daily habits and the lifestyle that you are practicing week by week, that is part of your daily life, so that you have the best eyesight you can have. Voila, so that's what we're here for. That's what we're doing.
Besides, we have undergone that. We have proved that
Yes.
natural vision works. Because
Yes.
after, like myself, 45 years of wearing glasses, and now I'm not wearing them, I can tell you I have improved. So I can say someone, okay, do this exercise, do that exercise. But I can tell you truly that it's good, that it works really.
A teacher or a professor can talk about theory, but a coach always, besides having a model that works, of course, but always needs to be able to talk from lived experience. A coach needs to embody and to be a model for the solution that they're offering. It's the only way. And also a coach, what does is that they empower you so that you are autonomous with that model that works, and that you can become the master of that area of your life. And in this case, it's seeing clearly with your own eyes. So that's what we're here for. That's what we're doing. Thank you, Diana. So this was a different way of talking about who I am, who is Ainhoa de Federico, and it's talking about what I know, what I feel, what I'm inspired to do, what I'm motivated to do, and what's my mission and vision. And again, you can be part of it. You can be part of it at the level that you want. Maybe you only want it for yourself, and that's great, to have your solution, to not have to suffer. Maybe you want it also to inspire your family, to invite them to take care of their eyesight and improve their vision. Maybe you want to become a vision coach, a vision educator, a vision teacher, like some people that you're seeing here, and myself, so that you can help others professionally. Whatever it is that you want this information for, it is with all my heart and love that I'm providing it here, and that I hope that I'm opening your eyes and your minds to what is possible. And actually, when you're aligned with your vision, mission, purpose, contribution, that helps also your eyesight. Actually, that was what happened when I was in my 30s, the last time that I had a vision decline. It was the moment when I needed to find my path of clarity, my path of joy. And ever since, I have been walking the talk, or walking the walk, and my eyesight has kept amazingly good since then. Et voila. So I would like to know how your vision is changing since you've been participating in this 4-part free masterclass. And if you want to write about what's been happening these last couple of weeks, it would be amazing. And in any case, today we're going to talk about emotions and vision. So that's today's topic. Yeah. So there's actually research about the impact of emotions on vision since 1958. In lesson number 1, we already spoke about Dr. William Bates, the ophthalmologist that pioneered natural vision improvement over 100 years ago. So I was saying we already talked about we already talked about Bates' theory, the pioneer of natural vision improvement, and how he explained that actually not only the crystalline participates in focusing, but that the extraocular muscles play a role in focusing, the recti and the oblique muscles. the recti that keep the eye in the socket and help it move, and the oblique that hold the eye like a belt. And not only did he explain the role in focusing, but he also managed to explain how the excessive tension in those muscles actually is the cause to refractive errors, the most common eyesight symptoms. So a myopic eye has oblique muscles that are too tense, so it's a too long eye. That's why they can only see near, but not see far. And a hyperopic eye has the recti that are too tense, so the eye is too flat, so it can focus far away, but it cannot focus near, right? Eye with astigmatism has uneven tensions in the recti muscles. And so the cornea, instead of being all round like a basketball ball or a soccer ball, becomes, distorted and takes more a shape of a rugby or an American football ball, right? And finally, with presbyopia, the tension is in the ciliary muscles that are the muscles responsible of changing the shape of the crystalline, the lens, right, in the eye. So he explained that, and so that's one very big important idea that Dr. William Bates had. But there's a second thing that is relevant here that he discovered that's going to be a point of start, and that is that when people had tension in those eye muscles, they usually had mental tension. And so if there was tension in the muscles that was causing the refractive errors, there was mental tension. And so he also developed plenty of strategies for people not just to relax their eyes, but to relax themselves. He and his collaborator, Emily Learman, that became his wife, his second wife, Emily Bates, and they worked together around these ideas. And he was one of the first to say, at least from ophthalmology, now it's the standard in neurosciences and neurophysiology, that in eyesight, 90% of the process happens in the brain and only 10% happens in the eye. This is now like super known in neuroscience. But for the time, it was like a huge new idea. And but that's as far as Dr. William Bates went, right? And after him, in the 50s and later, there was a number of researchers that started doing a more in-depth, specific research on not just mental strain or mental stress and mental tension, but specific emotions hiding behind specific eyesight symptoms. The first dissertation that I found about this topic was carried by Dr. Charles Kelly. And this dissertation was called Psychological Factors in Myopia. It was a PhD dissertation, School for Social Research, and the Department of Ophthalmology at the University of Columbia, or Columbia University in New York in 1958. So we're talking about a very prestigious institution here, right? But not just him. That same year, there was Jack Fox writing a dissertation, a PhD dissertation on the functional factors in myopia at the University of California in Los Angeles, at UCLA, also in 1958. Charles Kelly himself, in 1971, published a book gathering not just the experience of his PhD, but decades of work around it afterwards. And he wrote this book called New Techniques of Vision Improvement. And a few years later, there was yet another dissertation by Caroline Zagerm, a psychological approach to the improvement of myopia at the University of Colorado. And there's been also other PhDs after that. Ray Gottlieb also wrote one on the psychology of myopia, and Janet Goodrich also. And there's this very interesting research that I'll give you some highlights of, not yet, not now. So Pamela, Diana, Maria, Maya, please remind me if I don't speak about this, so that we make sure that I do. So this article, published in the Journal of the American Optometric Association in '96, has per title visual function in multiple personality disorder. Or yes, let's talk about this now. Actually, this article proves that when there's people that have this disorder that shows different personalities, each of the personalities they have a different eyesight prescription or eyesight disorder, or not at all. So let's say a person has 3 personalities. One could be nearsighted, the other one could be farsighted, which is exactly the opposite. I mean, the eye could be too long, but it cannot be at the same time too long and too short, right? And the other one could see perfectly well. So what's interesting in this article, in this research, it's that it's showing that depending on how you are living yourself, your personality, how you're showing up in the world, is associated with a symptom or with the lack of a symptom. And this change can happen in a split second for these people. Like 1 minute they're short-sighted, and the next minute they're far-sighted, and the next minute they see perfectly well. So this is showing the very deep connection that there is between eyesight and the brain and personality, and of course an identity, and of course emotions. Yes, so we're going to dive deeper into the thesis, the dissertation of Charles Kelly, the first one in the line, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, by the way, I myself have also carried research on this topic from the University of Toulouse, together with an esteemed colleague and friend, Dr. Anastasia Meidani. And we have carried 3 researchers with growing samples of people, and we've been able also to prove again the hypothesis that I'm going to share with you, the ideas that I'm going to share with you. Okay, but let's start with Dr. Charles Kelly. So he himself was a psychology student to begin with, and he was very myopic. He was nearsighted. And he worked with Margaret Dars-Corbett, that had a very successful and famous practice in LA at the time, and he completely recovered his eyesight. So Margaret Dars-Corbett was one of the later disciples of Dr. Bates. And she herself was an educator. So he was very good at teaching and at being very clear and showing step by step what to do and how to do it. And she was very famous and successful. And in LA, she had a number of actors and actresses. Kirk Douglas, the father of Michael Douglas, was a client, for example. And another client that was very famous among Margaret Dars-Corbett clientele was Aldous Huxley, the famous writer that was nominated for the Nobel Literature Prize a couple of times. And that, among other things, he wrote the very famous dystopic novel, A Brave New World, that a lot of us have had to read in high school in some literature class. And I'm seeing that Diana is showing the other book that he wrote, The Art of Seeing. He wrote it in 1942 because Aldous Huxley actually, at age 16, had an attack of keratitis punctata that made him legally blind. And he had to learn Braille, and he had to go with a cane, and he had to wear very, very thick glasses to see anything, if at all. And he worked together with Margaret Dars-Corbett, and the recovery and the improvement of his eyesight was so great that he was grateful for life. His second wife, survived Aldous Huxley, said that one of the biggest achievements that he considered he had done in his life was improving his own eyesight. And even if it wasn't perfect, but it made him functional in many, many times without glasses, which is absolutely, absolutely amazing. So anyway, Charles Kelly, also was the client of Margaret Dars-Corbett, and so he became acquainted with the Bates theories, the ideas of Bates, right? And on the other hand, he was a psychology student, and as a psychology student, he became acquainted, of course, with the theories by psychoanalysts, of course, with Freud to begin with, but also other heterodox psychoanalysts, for example, Lacan or Jung, that are very known. And the one that interested him the most for the following his research was Wilhelm Reich. Well, he was German, and after Second World War, like many other intellectuals in Europe, he went to the United States. And one of the ideas of Wilhelm Reich that was very interesting for Charles Kelly is that when there are unsolved emotions, or not fully expressed or not fully experienced, these emotions get stuck in your body in the form of muscle tension. And he's the father of bioenergetics that then was developed by other psychiatrists like Pierrakos and Lowen. And well, he also developed this theory of muscle shields that build in your body when you're exposed very often to experiencing the same emotions and you cannot transcend them, right? So people that are angry very often or fearful very often, or sad very often, or that are happy or that are loving or that are daring, etc., they don't have the same posture. They don't hold the tensions in the same group muscles. Yeah. So Charles Kelly was very, very interested by this because he had, on the one hand, Bates's theories that say that if refractive errors are caused by muscle tension, and then he had Wilhelm Reich's theories that say that muscle tension is very often caused by emotional tension. So he decided to put the two theories together and to actually see if he could find consistent kinds of emotions, specific emotions hiding behind specific eyesight symptoms. And he did his PhD on nearsightedness, on myopia. And you've seen that many of the PhDs have been carried on myopia because it's a very common symptom. But there's been other researches, other pieces of research expanding that knowledge and actually making correlations and finding correspondences between specific eyesight symptoms that tend to be associated with specific stuck emotions or kind of experiences and successful experiences in life. And I got acquainted with these hypotheses, these ideas, by Dr. Martin Brofman. He's the author of several books. One of them is called Improve Your Eyesight, where he talks about this. And I had the chance to get acquainted with his work in 1999. So that's already 25 years ago. And then I started taking trainings with him and other trainers that he had trained. And by 2008, I became his only sole translator for all the workshops that he did in Spain until he passed in 2014. So for 7-8 years, I was translating all his workshops. And he used to say that when I translated, it was as if there was one consciousness speaking through two mouths. Yes. So I believe that I became very, very precisely acquainted with his ideas and theories. And beyond that, again, I also did my own research from the University of Toulouse, and we tested this hypothesis with larger numbers, and we did all the statistics around them, and we could actually confirm that with larger numbers and with people from many different countries, we would find repeatedly the same patterns and the same type of situations. So let me look at my little presentation. Yeah, so we already, I didn't mention, by the way, going back to Charles Kelly, that the PhD that he did on the psychological factors of myopia, granted him winning the prize for the best dissertation of the year. And we're talking about very prestigious institutions here. And at the time he was published in the New York Times, and he appeared on Time, and he went to the radio and television in New York and California. But besides that fame that lasted, I don't know, 15 minutes, probably you had never heard about all of this, and the impact that it had on mainstream ophthalmology or optometry was not much. So that's why we needed to create this new profession of vision coaching to take all these very valuable ideas into account. Yeah. Okay. So we already talked about this. And we already talked about Martin Brofman, and I think I quickly mentioned also my own research with Dr. Anita Meidani. Okay, so I would like to give you a direct experience on what I'm talking about, because maybe it can feel a little bit abstract, like, what are you saying that with emotions my eyesight gets better or get worse? Well, maybe you've all actually already realized that if you're sad or afraid or angry, you see less well. Uh-huh. And there's in some languages expressions about how anger makes you blind, right? So maybe you already have some sense of it, or maybe you were not paying attention. So let's make a little experience so you can have a sense of what I'm talking about. And Kristen is saying that is wild, and it makes so much sense now. Yay. Uh-huh. Okay. And is eye strain connected to migraines? It definitely can be. And if so, what can we do to prevent migraines and reduce pain during a migraine? Well, you are going to notice that as you do palming and sunning and you practice the things that we're teaching you, the migraines are going to reduce and the eyesight is going to get better. Mm-hmm. Okay, so going to the experience that I wanted to invite you to have, I'm going to ask you to, take a comfortable position with your feet flat on the floor, hands on your lap, palms facing up. Be well seated on your chair. Maybe you want to have your back on the back of your chair, holding it, or just sit straight but without any tension. Mm-hmm. And before you close your eyes, I need you to remove any glasses or contacts if you were wearing any. And I want to ask you to take a look at the screen. There's letters of different sizes at different places. And look around you also. Maybe there's other letters of different sizes in other parts of the room, or objects that you can look at. You can pay attention to texture, colors, the quality of light, how well you see in 3D. Anyway, pay attention at the quality of your eyesight and seeing at this moment, because you want to compare how you feel now, how you see now, with what happens after this little experience. Yes? So now you can close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, breathe slowly and deeply. Breathe in, and when you exhale, feel that your body relaxes. And breathe in again, slowly and deeply. And as you exhale, feel that your body relaxes even more. And for the third time, inhale slowly and deeply. And when you exhale, feel your body relaxing even more. And when you are in this state of relaxation, you're going to remember a recent situation where you felt stress, something that was not nice. It doesn't need to be something dramatic or traumatic, just a situation that you lived with stress. Mm-hmm. Remember what was going on, who else was participating in the situation, what happened, what was said, how you felt, what you thought. And as you remember this unfriendly, stressful situation, you may notice that some part of your body is becoming tense. Mm-hmm. So take notice of that. And now with your breathing, you're going to relax that part of your body again. So you're going to inhale into that part of your body. And as you exhale, you notice that body part getting more relaxed. And you can inhale again and feel that part of your body. And as you exhale, you notice that body part getting more and more relaxed. And you inhale for the third time. And as you exhale, you notice that body part becoming harmonious, unified part of the rest of your relaxed body. Mm-hmm. Okay, and now you're going to think about a beautiful situation that you lived at some point in time in your life. Some situation that you lived with joy, with happiness, with love, with a sense of gratitude. It could be some beautiful holidays or some happy memories from your childhood, or a moment where you were in love, or some family shared situation that made you very happy, or some achievement in your professional life, or a moment that you felt proud of yourself, or that you felt others were proud of you. And remember what happened in that situation, who was there, what was happening, what was said, how that made you feel, and what you thought. And as you're remembering the details of that happy moment, pay attention at how you feel your body. And if you're like me, it's likely that you will feel your body expanded and warm and relaxed and comfortable. So take a moment to enjoy the beauty of what you're feeling now. And when you want, you will be able to open your eyes by blinking like a butterfly. Remember, that's a nice way to get your eyes used to light again. And it also encourages for you to keep blinking afterwards. Yeah. And now look around you and notice how you see. And if you're like me, it's likely that you see the different letters of different sizes sharper, or letters that may be in other parts of the room, or the colors are brighter, or the light is shinier. Yeah, there's more light, or that you notice the volume of things, the 3D, better. So you could write in the chat if you want what has changed in your eyesight just with this very little experience. And also, I would like to know if while you were doing this experience, you could notice how, when you were remembering something that is not even happening now, remembering that stressful situation, you could probably feel some parts of your body tensing up. And when you were in the happy memories, your body was relaxed and expanded. And because I cannot talk with the people that are watching in YouTube and Facebook, well, I'm going to ask Maria, Diana, Pamela, Maya, if you did the practice and any of you want to say something. So what was your experience? Maya, let's go with you to change a little bit. You need to unmute yourself. So what did you feel with these two parts of the experience? Okay, we lost Maya. I think she pressed the wrong button. So Diana, what was the
See.
experience for you?
Yeah. Oh, I when we went back to the good thing, the relaxation, to think that that tension was gone before, because when you think about something, it immediately triggers attention. For me, it was here and
Mm-hmm.
here, this part. And then when I breathed again and I just, sent my breathing to this area, everything was relaxed. So I felt like I was floating in the space. And
Mm-hmm.
it really it changes the situation. And that gives you a key when you change every day, or anything in particular that you think, or just an argument that you had, or something that caught your attention and was really bad for you. It's it's here that it begins, because you think of that, and then it goes to your body and you feel it in your body. You do
Yep.
like this, you say, why did he tell me this, and that, just for an example. But
Yes.
then you have that tool. Someone's, was talking about migraines that are so awful. So
Yes.
breathe.
Yes. So you're absolutely right. Actually, our eyesight is very connected, because eyesight doesn't happen in the eyes; it happens in the brain. And the parts of the brain that are connected with eyesight are also connected with memory and imagination. And memory talks about the past, imagination talks about the future. So memory about what happened, what we learned, and imagination, what could be true, what could happen in the future. But they both serve us in images. When we remember something, we remember it in images. And when we imagine in images. Now, what do we choose to remember and what do we choose to imagine? Because if we choose to remember good things and to imagine good things, well, we keep our body in balance, and it's under the influence of the parasympathetic autonomous nervous system. And so we can learn and we can be curious and we can enjoy life and we can digest literally what we eat, but also what we experience and what we learn. But if we're remembering bad things and imagining horrible things, we're keeping our body under the effect of the sympathetic autonomous nervous system, which is the response to fight or hide or flee, right, or run away in fear. And when we do that, we're literally locking our perceptual system into worse performance, or actually performance that is suited for running away, like finding the escape, but that doesn't allow to really enjoy fully all the dimensions of our experience of seeing. Yeah, you only need to see a horror movie, right? When there's the victim that's being prosecuted. I mean, someone's running behind some monster or something. How is the face of that person? How with the eyes very tense, very open, not blinking, only with dilated pupils, only being able to see in front and not being aware of the periphery. Yeah. And if that happens for a moment when we need to run away, it's okay. But the problem is when we're systematically being in fear all the time, stressed all the time, and we're locking our perceptual systems and we're never letting them free. Yeah.
Yes. We create our reality every second, every moment, because we choose what we think, what we want to see, in fact, or the people we want to be with. We know that, our vision changes.
So we can change our vision, we can change our choices, we can choose to cultivate happy memories and happy emotions and imagine a happy future, and that will have a big impact in our eyesight. I don't know, Maya, we got you back. You pushed the right button now again. I don't know if Maya or Maria want to say something, or Pamela. Yes, Maya? Raise your hand if you want to say something, because otherwise I don't know who wants to speak. Okay, yeah.
Yes, okay. Yes, I did the exercise and wow, it was amazing because when I opened my eye, everything was bright. I couldn't see much better. Everything was clear, and my mind was like very. I felt very nice. My head, because at the beginning I was tension. So, and when I imagine the sad moment, oh, my body feel like tight, very tight. Yes, and when I imagine the happy moments, I could feel the relaxing, the head to toes, all my body was relaxing, and that's very important. That with even a little, a little exercise that to know how to breathe and get the air, the oxygen to your brain, that help everything, because you inhale, the oxygen, and when you exhale, all the tension came out. So that's very important because your eye can feel relaxing, so that helps to see much better, and you can see the difference when sometimes, with me, sometimes when I'm worried for something, and I can tell myself I see blurry, and I know something's going on with me. So and then I start, breathing, and then blinking more, because sometimes we forget to blink more. So and then uh, that helped me a lot, and I do the stretches with my eye too, and that helped too. Everything, with little things you can feel the difference, so you can see much better.
Yes, absolutely. And also, thank you, Maya. And also, you have noticed that it was instant. The creation of the tension and the disappearance of the tension was instant, depending on what you were thinking and how you were feeling. So when people are experiencing eyesight symptoms, probably they're cultivating a recurring kind of thought, or they're holding on to a kind of emotion that has been stuck there and not solved. Sometimes people say, I palm and I do the palming and I do the sunning and I see well for a little bit, but then afterwards it gets back. Well, guess what? It gets back because you have created again the tension in your eyes and in your way of being. But if you could see clearly, even for a split second with the sunning or the palming, you have proven to yourself that you can see clearly, and that can be trained into a habit. And you can see clearly again every day for the rest of your life. But of course, that may need some learning. And if you want to do that learning, tomorrow we're going to release video 4. We're going to explain the 6 levels that you need to learn to make your eyesight improvement a lasting experience. And if you want us to help you in doing that learning and creating that habit, we're going to offer you the opportunity to do it starting tomorrow and with an important discount. And I see, Maria, you also want to say something on this experience?
I was just want to say about the relationship with real life. We were talking before about the healthy habits related to the eyes. There's a lot of tension related to muscles. So I don't know how long ago, but many years ago, the gyms didn't exist. No one needs to go to the gym. They didn't exist. They didn't go, and now it's like something everybody does because it's healthy, and you have to take care of your muscles. Guess what? The eyes are also surrounded by muscles.
Absolutely.
And I think that there are many people with tension on their shoulders, on their neck, which is also my case. And whenever I see clear, I haven't recovered my eyesight completely, but I have moments in which I see clearly every day, and that's why I keep on trying. And whenever I see clearly, I have noticed that the muscles around my neck and my shoulders have relaxed. So they have something to do with the way of thinking or the way I'm feeling in that moment.
Yay. So yes, the eyes are the windows to your soul, and how is the quality of your eyesight is a perfect mirror in the moment of how you're feeling and what else you could improve. And I know, Maria, that you have come a long way, that you've improved greatly from myopia, and you have gotten rid of astigmatism, and certainly I'm forgetting some other symptoms that you left behind. And the little part that is still left, well, it's an indication of what you can still work on. Yeah. And I'm seeing that there's questions also about specific symptoms, and we did promise we were going to talk about that. So I think I'll take it that direction. Thank you very much, Maria and Diana. If you want to participate and say something at some point, Pamela, you're also welcome to do so. And in the meantime, let's move on. So we're going to teach you or remind you the symptom translation technique. And the idea is that you can also change the way in which you look at symptoms, and not just for eyesight, all symptoms in general in your body. You can think of them as something that happens to you, or you can think of them as something that is there for you. In what way? In the way that symptoms appear as an adaptation of the body to the environment, and they tend to be in the moment solution that your body finds to protect you from a greater harm. That could be a psychological kind of harm, an emotional kind of harm. So symptoms don't ever appear in random moments, but they appear in a moment in your life where something's going on that is hard. And a lot of people say that if you're losing your eyesight, there's something that you don't want to see, or something that's difficult to see. And yes, that could be true, but we can get more specific at what it is about. What is the thing that is hard to see, or painful to see, or difficult to see, or that you don't want to see? You may have good reasons not to want to see it. And when you have that knowledge, that gives you a leverage to transform both the eyesight problem and also the situation. So the symptom translation technique is a technique that is based on 3 questions. When you have a symptom that appears at some point in time, ask yourself that is bothering you, that is not allowing you to be functional in some area of your life, including eyesight and vision. Ask yourself 3 questions. First, when did the symptom appear? How old were you, or what year it was, what period of the year, what month? So that's the first question, that you can locate it in time. Second, what was going on in that time of your life? And it could be something that you were living personally, or something that concerned a relationship with someone, a beloved one, or maybe it could be something that was going on between other people that lived with you, for example, between your parents, or maybe one of your parents lost a job, or there was something difficult for the family. It could be in your family. It could even be societal. Yeah, like we said, a lot of people had their eyesight decrease massively and collectively during COVID. Well, we were all going through a stressful period, right? But it could be something else, economic crisis, war, or I don't know, a coup d'etat, or whatever other thing that was floating in the air in society at that time. If you don't remember, maybe you can ask people around you, people who knew you at that time, your friends, your parents, or uncles, or aunts, or grandparents, anybody that may have been around at that time. Yeah. And so when it happened, what was going on at that time? And that gives you a clue of what that symptom was trying to achieve for you, what it was trying to protect you from. And the third question is, indeed, what's the function of the symptom? What does the symptom allow you to do or keep you from doing? Yeah. And so most people start having their eyesight issues when there's something going on, like they're going through a hard divorce, or their parents are fighting, or they lose a job, or they're stressed because they have lots of exams at the university. And the eyesight decrease, in a way, is trying to keep you from seeing that hard thing. But now when you put glasses in front of your eyes, you have to see clearly something that is painful to see. So now, for example, what's the reaction of your body? Well, increasing the symptoms so you don't see it. So that's another reason why symptoms like myopia are progressive. There's the fact of getting the muscles have to keep tense so that they can see clearly through the glass, but also that the adaptive response has to increase to face the thing that's so hard and painful to see. Yeah. Now, another thing is that the moment that you put the glasses, you're keeping yourself from being able to digest the emotion and the situation. You're locking yourself in there. So not only the glasses keep you from seeing clearly at the physical level, but they keep you from seeing clearly at the emotional level. Voila, they don't allow you to be aware that there's still something you need to solve. Okay, so now that we've said that, you probably want to go into the symptoms, the specific symptoms and their meaning. And I see that there's a question about cataracts. Yes. But first, when you learn about this, you realize that you can see clearly. And the more you are clear inside, or the more you get inner clarity, the more you get outer clarity. And so you get 2 benefits in one: clear eyesight and more happiness, because you live more free of these burdens and you live more authentic. And that's amazing. Yeah. And I know that here we're giving you like the clues on what's behind. We're going to give you the clues of what's behind each symptom. And if you want to get more information about specific tools to free all these, we can go more in depth, of course, in the advanced program. But now I promised that I would explain 15 symptoms. So let's dive into that. So first, myopia. We already know that myopia happens with stress in the oblique muscles that make the eye too long, and so we can see near, but we cannot see far. In terms of experience, we could say that this is my personal space, yes, and when I have myopia or I'm nearsighted, I can see what's near, but I don't see what's far away. So the movement is removing myself from a threatening world, or hiding from a threatening world. And actually, a lot of people that have myopia say that they feel safer covered by the shields of the glasses, and putting some distance with the world. Yes, so that's what's behind myopia. And when does myopia more often happen? In childhood, when we're facing a change that we're not yet prepared for. And it could be many things, and it doesn't necessarily only happen in childhood. And here are some types of situations. So when we start school, that's a huge change for kids, leaving the home with the family and being cozy and with known people, and now all of a sudden being somewhere else with a lot more people. And depending of the style of the school, maybe it's very strict and stressful. Yeah, and people, they cannot be curious, they cannot move, they cannot talk. Anyway, and you may be even bullied, and depending on the teacher that you have, maybe the teacher has an eye on you. So it can be very stressful. And actually, historically, it's been demonstrated that when the first public system of schooling appeared in history in Prussia, it wasn't even Germany at the time, there was a significant increase of myopia, of nearsightedness. It's documented. So this is one of the typical cases, but it could be something else. The family moves to another apartment or another house or another city or another country, or the parents fight, or there's conflict, or they get a divorce, or there's a new child in the family, and now all the attention from the adults is turned to the new children, and the person is like, now who's going to love me? So that can create a lot of fear. Or every time there's a change in school cycles, from primary to middle, from middle to secondary, from secondary to superior, or when you start university, or you end university, or you have your first job. And for women, it's also typical to get myopia in the first pregnancy, or the pregnancy number N, where it feels like it's going to be a challenge to have so many kids at home. Yeah, well, becoming a mother is a huge change in roles, and for some people, it generates a lot of uncertainty and fear and insecurity. So that's typical situations for myopia to start. Another one also that's very typical is around puberty, when hormones change, and all of a sudden we need to start facing the politics of attraction. If I'm attracted to this person, but this person is not attracted, or the other person is attracted to me and I am not, or we're both attracted, but we're very afraid of what's going on. So it can generate uncertainty and insecurity and stress to have to deal with these things when we're younger, right? And then we can grow and we can know nowadays that it's okay, but at the time we may have felt it with a lot of fear. And so when you have developed myopia, it's important, well, besides taking off the glasses and the different practices we've talked about, to make this mantra yours. Everything's fine, everything will be fine. And if it's not, I will deal with it. Because when people develop myopia and they start looking at the world and the future through a filter of fear, they start becoming worried and preoccupied, and they become controlling. They compensate the fear with an excess of mind activity, an excess of planning, and they forget to be present in the present. They spend the present thinking about a lot of horrible potential futures, and they miss the moment. So it's important to stay present in the present. When you're present in the present is a present, right? And let go of the future, just take care of the present, and make sure that you have this mantra: everything's fine, it's going to be fine. And if it's not, I have the capacity to handle it. Yeah. So to develop trust and confidence in yourself and in life. Okay, with hyperopia, or people who are farsighted, it's also a reaction to fear and insecurity, but the defensive strategy is different. Instead of hiding, retrieving from the world, the reaction is to run away and to go somewhere else where it feels safer. So people who develop hyperopia, whenever that happened, probably they felt like being present was not safe. So they evaded. They left. They would run away outside or inside. They would not be present. And that tendency tends to stay over time. And these people may nowadays be changing jobs very fast, or changing relationships, or changing places to live. And I mean, of course, if it's a conscious choice, it makes sense sometimes to change relationships or jobs or houses. But the problem is when it becomes just an automatic response, and it keeps you from having the benefit of long-term benefits in staying in relationships or jobs or places to live, right? So if you've developed hyperopia, ask yourself, when was it that you felt like you had to run away, and how it was not safe to be present? And you can transform that and actually tell yourself that now it's safe to be where you are, that you can make yourself comfortable, and that you have the right to be present. Yeah. So with presbyopia, it's interesting. They tell us that the need for reading glasses comes with age, but we've already spoken in lesson 2 that there's whole societies that don't know about presbyopia, even though people live 100 years. Because in those societies, when people are older, they're fully passionate and engaged with life. They feel at the center of their existence, and they're the protagonists, the stars of their own films. Yeah. And for example, we talked about all those blue zones where, and the Hansa in the Himalayas, and the Vilacabamba in Ecuador, but also in China, in continental China, presbyopia was very rare until 30 years ago. And if you look at the culture with the Confucianist philosophy, there's great respect for the elders in the family, and people seek their advice and they go for them for the experience. Yeah, and they serve them first, and they always have the best place to sit, etc. Whereas in societies where presbyopia develops, they're societies where older people feel like they're not worthy anymore. They now in certain countries, they have to retire at a certain age, and it's compulsory, and they cannot do anymore the job that was the passion of their life, and they're so experienced, and they have time, and they have energy, and they would like to devote themselves to that, but somebody's saying that they're not useful anymore. That can be very hard. Yeah. Or we can live in societies that live in exaltation of youth, and only consider youth beautiful, and you look at yourself in the mirror and you start seeing the wrinkles and you feel out of the game. Or sometimes you go to a bank because you want to buy a new house, and they're saying that they're not going to lend you the money anymore because you're not going to be working enough years to pay it back. Or they feel that you don't have enough life expectancy to pay it back. That's a slap in the face. Or technology advances, and you see young kids that know how to use everything, and you're wondering what buttons to push. You feel out of date. And or maybe you already got married, or you didn't get married, or you got children, or you didn't get it, but you have the sense that there's things that you cannot do anymore, that life doesn't have the opportunities it used to have. And so if you feel that way, and you feel like you're like pushed to the side, you feel that the best of your life was in the past, and that it's not, you start talking like this. Maybe you've heard people say, in my times, this or that. If you're alive, your times are now also. So with presbyopia, the look is in the past with rage or nostalgia or guilt. And you need to put yourself back in the present and make sure, and that's the mantra number 1 for presbyopia, that you make the rest of your life the best of your life, and that you claim again being the star in your own movie, and that you make yourself the protagonist and the center. Because what happens otherwise? Well, with presbyopia, it's this the short arm syndrome, right? You have to put things far so you can see them. What are you doing with your energy? You're pushing it away. You're giving it to everybody else. If you don't feel that you're important in your life anymore, you give it to your children, you give it to your spouse, you give it to your parents, you give it to your family, you give it to the neighbors, you give it to social causes somewhere else or whatever, and you forget yourself, and you're running from thing to thing, trying to solve everybody else's issues, and you forget yourself. And you need to stop doing that and put yourself in the center again. Also, how funny, how interesting, what a coincidence, presbyopia happens more often for women and earlier for women. And guess what? I'm not saying anything you don't know. In many societies, women have been socialized to be everybody else's caregivers, and they forget about themselves sometimes. So if you're a woman and you've developed presbyopia, you need, well, if you're a man also, you need to put yourself in the center. And you need to develop what we call positive selfishness. How does this go? So first of all, me. After that, me. Later, it's about me. And if there's something left, it is for me. And I know it may sound exaggerated, but it is on purpose, because if you've developed presbyopia, you've actually been giving everything to everyone else and you haven't taken enough care of yourself. So you need to do the things that you love just for the sake of loving it. They don't need to be useful. They just need to be enjoyable for you. And that way you're putting yourself in the center again. And this is important if you want to let go of presbyopia. And make sure that you do those things that maybe you didn't have time when you were pushing for your career or taking care of your kids. And precisely this is the time that you can develop all those passions that stayed in a drawer for years. But it's important that you live life with passion and enthusiasm, that you become again the star of your own movie. Okay, with astigmatism, we already said distorted vision because there's irregular tension in the recti muscles, yes? And metaphorically, emotionally, it means that you have distorted your point of view. And instead of showing up authentically as you are, who you are, and expressing how you feel and what you want, you have transformed that, you have distorted that to fit, to fit into expectations or roles or whatever other people believe that you should do or you should be or how you should behave. And sometimes it is even ourselves that have internalized those beliefs, but we're not in touch with what is really true for ourselves. And I have had astigmatism a couple of times in life, I already told you, and I got out of it. So I can see how this makes perfect sense. And the beauty is that once you have that inner dialogue, making sure that you're in touch with what's real for you, what you really want, what you really feel, who you really are, the moment that you start living more authentically and caring less about what everybody else thinks about it, well, not only eyesight is back and clear, but you're a lot more fulfilled and happy in life. Yeah? Okay, so amblyopia or a lazy eye. So with a lazy eye, actually the brain is only taking into account one of the two eyes. So it's interesting to know which one. And so we need to know that we have a yang eye and a yin eye. For those who write with the right hand, the right eye is the yang eye, the yang of action, projects, what happens outside of the house. And the other eye is the yin, the eye about what happens in the house, relationship, care, intimacy, emotions, yeah? And for the left-handed people, it's the opposite. The left eye is the yang eye about action, projects, what's outside the house, and the right eye is the yin eye, the eye about intimacy, relationship, care, what happens inside the house. So if you have one eye that is lazy, that is amblyopic, it's interesting to know if it's your yang eye or your yin eye, because then it's telling you what is it difficult for you to see. Is it difficult for you to see what happens outside the house? Projects, action, what you would like to, how you would like to project yourself in the world. Or what is difficult to see is what happens inside the house. Emotions, relationship, intimacy, care. And when you know that, well, you know where you need to go and clarify and solve some issues. So it's very, very useful. Now, with strabismus or a squint, yeah, so then the eyes are not converging into what we want to look. But for example, there's converging strabismus and there's divergent strabismus, yeah? and they have slightly different meanings. They also tend to appear in childhood. And when the strabismus is converging, then it means that that child sees that there's some conflict between the yang and the yin important figures in his or her life. So usually that's mom and dad, right? And probably it's not going well between mom and dad, or that's what the child believes. And then the child believes that he is guilty. The eyes are pointing at the child. Yeah. So if that has been you, or there's a child around you with converging strabismus, you need to explain to that child that whatever's happening between mom and dad, it's their issues, adult issues, that it's not the responsibility of the child. Yeah. And that in any case, the child is fully loved and conditionally loved by both. You need to create space, hold space for the child to express what he or she feels and needs, but also to assure that it's not his fault. Yeah. And when the squint is divergent, again, also the child sees that mom and dad are not connected, or they're not coordinated, they're not working together. And the child believes that he has to choose between loyalties. Like, if I'm connected with dad, I cannot be connected with mom. And if I'm connected with mom, I cannot be connected with dad. So again, you need to explain to that child, or if that child was you, that whatever is happening now between mom and dad, you are always the fruit of their love, and you deserve to experience the unconditional love from both, and you don't need to choose. Okay, with diplopia or double vision, well, what happens is that the person is divided. There's like two options in front, two things that seem incompatible, and the person doesn't know what to choose. So to get rid of diplopia, that could at the physical level have different causes. It could be from cataracts, or from astigmatism, or from a lack of coordination between the eyes. And of course, we can help at that level too. But at the emotional level, what needs to be solved is that choice between two things, or a way to help integrate both options into a cohesive, coherent, single option. And what often happens is that people are wrapped up in their minds, in the pros and cons, and analyzing those options. And they're not letting enough space for the intelligence of the heart, or the intelligence of imagination. Yeah. And we really have a lot of voices in our head, because we have two hemispheres. They handle the information differently. And we also have three layers of the brain: the reptilian survival brain, the limbic mammal emotional brain, and the neocortex abstract rational brain. And they also handle the information and have different priorities. So we have a chaos of voices in our head. Now, guess what? If you make the shortest but the most important trip in your life, which is going from your head into your heart, your heart has one single coherent answer, one single coherent choice. The heart also has neurons, and the neurons in the heart are connected with the insula of the brain. And the insula is the part of the brain that synthesizes all the information and all the voices, and gives one single answer that is expressed in the heart through the sense of expansiveness. Some languages have expressions about how things make their heart sing, right? And so you need to go with the voice of your heart. Shamans say that all paths are the same, but some paths have a heart, and you should go to the path of your heart. And Sufi wisdom says it doesn't matter how far you've gone in the wrong path, you always can choose the right one. Yes? Okay, so with diplopia, it's necessary that you sort out either what is the good choice for you, or how you can make that which is divided become unified and coherent. Okay, with cataracts, and I know Christine was asking about cataracts. Yeah, so we already told you about looking far and near at the physical level, so that you make the crystalline work and keep it cleansed and clean from residues and toxins that can get in there and make the cataracts happen. But also in the metaphorical sense, if we say that the eyes are the windows to the soul, when we have cataracts and the crystalline is becoming opaque, it's as if we were putting blinds in front of the eyes, right? So why would we put blinds on our windows? Well, when we're not interested in what's happening in the outer world anymore. Cataracts tend to appear when people lose something that was a very important motivation for them in life. For example, when people are forced to retire from a job that they loved and now they don't have a reason to get up in the morning to experience the beauty of life, yeah? Or happens more often for women. Some women are really looking forward to seeing grandchildren grow. And what if your children don't have children? Or what if they do, but they live far away? Or what if they live near, but you don't get along with your children or with the spouses of your children? And then you don't get to see the grandchildren. Well, then you either find a way to make it right or find something else to rejoice about. For men sometimes, or some men that are very attached to sexuality and they start having issues with age, with the prostate, for example, and then it's not so interesting, it doesn't work that well, that may be the thing behind cataracts. So again, you either solve the issue or you find other things that make you happy and enthused in life so that you look forward to getting up every day and living life. Yeah, so that's for cataracts. Now with macular degeneration, we already talked about the anatomy of the eye, and we showed how what's precisely behind the pupil is the macula. The macula and the fovea, and that's the part of the eye that sees the best, because there's many more little cones that can capture different colors and nuance. Yes. And so when you lose your central vision with macular degeneration, or it gets worse, what is it talking about? Well, it's talking about the fact that you have lost your central vision in life. You have lost something that was very central, and you don't have a new perspective of what to do, what to make the center of your life. So you either sort the thing that you lost, or you find a new vision, so you have again central vision for your life. And with retinopathy, it's the opposite. Actually put it together, and I'm going to do it again. So with retinopathy, it could happen in any other part of the retina, but more in the peripheral retina. So what does it mean? That you have lost sight of the context. You have lost sight of the environment. You're so focused in what's central for you that you have forgotten to go slow and smell the flowers or see other options, pay attention at other possibilities, be aware of what's surrounding you. And with glaucoma, it's as with retinopathy in the sense that with glaucoma, peripheral vision is lost before, but also it's due to high intraocular pressure. So on the top of what we just said, people with glaucoma are pressuring themselves too much, and they need to relax and take it easy and let go of all that pressure. Now with vitreous detachment, so the vitreous humor is this kind of gel. It's like gelatin that we have in the eye that gives the eye a round shape. It keeps the retina in place. It prevents the eye from collapsing. So when you have retinal detachment, it also happens with age, especially if you have bad habits and bad lifestyle, right? And what happens with age when you have a bad habits and a bad lifestyle? That you start needing to detach yourself from things that you're not able to do anymore. Your life becomes more limited. Your life becomes smaller. So there's the grief of having to detach from options and possibilities. So, well, you need to do the opposite before, of course, first, of course, have good habits and a good lifestyle, a good diet in the Greek sense, but then also look at how you can solve the things that you lost or how you can find other things that are interesting. And with retinal detachment, sometimes it happens combined with vitreous detachment, but in retinal detachment, there's the possibility of losing eyesight or portions of the eyesight. It corresponds to a tear in the tissue of the retina, but also it corresponds to something that feels like a tear in an important relationship. Retinal detachment often happens when an important beloved person is lost and there's grief, either because they died or there's been a conflict and the relationship tears, or because the person goes to live far away and the relationship or the contact is lost. Yeah. So you need to do the grief of that, or repair the relationship, or find a way to communicate with that person, even if the person is not in this plane anymore. Yeah. With eye fatigue, well, it's talking about fatigue in life. What are you fatigued about? What is boring? What is not interesting? What is like making you lose energy? So that's what you need to solve, and become more stimulated and have more fun. Yeah. Do more changes in the things that take your time and attention. And with dry eye and watery eye, well, the way the body handles water or liquids has to do with how the person is handling emotions. So with dry and watery eye, it's the two sides of the same coin, and it's talking about how you handle sadness. A lot of people develop dry eye or watery eye, for example, when dad dies, and we choose to support mom because mom has lost a life partner, and mom is very sad and in a huge grief, and we are also in grief that we lost our parent, but we show strong to support mom and we don't allow ourselves to cry. Well, that's a problem. You need to find space, hold space for yourself to allow yourself to cry when you need, even if it's in the toilet or with somebody else, to find the right context, right? And of course, it could be another situation, but in any case, there's a lot of sadness and you haven't come to terms with it. You haven't created space for it. And if you notice, we went past 15 symptoms and there's more. Yeah, so you could have itchy eyes or conjunctivitis or pterygium, and these are three levels of the same thing. Every time there's an itis in the body or in the eyes, it's talking about anger, anger. And so if you have irritated itchy eyes, well, guess what? It means you're irritated yourself. And if it's conjunctivitis, then it's an anger that is lasting a few more days. And if you have pterygium, then it means that the anger is structural. You're constantly angry because probably of something that is structural in the society that you live. There's injustice or violence or discrimination, and that makes you feel angry very often. And it's interesting to notice that pterygium is a lot more frequent in societies that have more violence or social injustice or social inequality. Yeah. So voila. Now with floaters or myodepsies, for the scientific name, when you see those kind of little worms, translucid worms that are floating in front of your eyes when you look at a white wall or the sky or the sea, first you need to know that these are normal part of the regeneration of the cells in the vitreous humor. So it's normal to have a few to a certain extent, but you have a lot of them, besides the fact that it could be a sign of vitreous detachment. It's also metaphorically, emotionally, an indication that something is bugging you. Sometimes they're called floating flies. So what are the flies or the bugs in your life that are bothering you? So you need to solve that, yeah? And also you can look at them as one would look snowflakes falling, and then you change the relationship to them, and then they tend to disappear, or your brain tends to Photoshop them, and then you don't see them. And with photophobia or sensitivity to light, of course, you can improve from that when you are practicing sunning, right? That helps your iris and pupil to adjust to the light, to the level of light. But in terms of emotional meaning, photophobia is talking about the fact that you are not comfortable with someone that shines with their own light. So you may see around you who is that very shiny, bright figure that is very empowered and takes a lot of space that bothers you. But you also need to look at that as a mirror to how you actually feel uncomfortable with shining with your own light and taking up your space and feeling empowered. That other person is bothering you because it's a mirror in which you're uncomfortable to look at yourself. So it may seem about the other person, but it's actually about yourself. Yeah. And the moment you are fine, you feel okay about shining with your own light and taking your own space and being empowered, the sensitivity to light also goes away. With styes, so it's a little ball of grease that's growing on the eyelid because there's some gland that got stuck. Well, every time there's a ball growing in the body, it's about something that you're holding and not expressing. So you need to ask yourself, what is it that you've been holding inside and not letting go, not expressing outside? You could also apply some worm tissue, a worm compress, and it'll help also for the little fat to go away. But emotionally, that's what it means. With keratoconus or anything that would affect the cornea is the most powerful lens in the eye. It has 38 to 42 diopters. Actually, a diopter is a measure of a capacity of a lens to bend or change the direction of light, the angle of light. So the more powerful the lens, the more diopters. So the cornea is a very powerful lens, and it's a metaphor of power, empowerment in the body. So when you have anything that's affecting the cornea, for example, keratoconus, it means that you feel disempowered, that you feel that you're not powerful, that you don't feel empowered. And when it breaks, besides being very painful, it means that you feel that you've lost completely your power, and that's also very painful emotionally. Color blindness is about confusing certain colors. The most common color blindness is the confusion between green and red. And then metaphorically, it means that there's confusion in the consciousness of the person about the meaning of those colors. And different people may have different beliefs about what the different colors mean, but an example that is quite common is that red is associated with danger, but also with trust and confidence and security. And green is associated with love and hope. So if a person has color blindness, this person is confusing security with love. And when that becomes clear in their consciousness, they can start distinguishing the colors. And we've had success stories from that too. And with blindness, which is the most extreme case, right, when you completely lose eyesight, then it means that it's too painful to see the world with that thing or without that thing. Yeah. And here I like to talk about the story of Ray Charles together with Stevie Wonder, right? The very known blind musicians. And Ray Charles, he lived earlier. His story comes before that of Stevie Wonder. So Ray Charles became blind shortly after he witnessed the death of his younger brother. And he actually was made guilty of that accident in the moment by the adults that were also in panic. Yeah. They were playing together, and there was a bucket with water, and they were playing, and the younger brother, they were both very little, fell into the bucket and drowned. And he was just there standing, watching. He didn't understand the situation. He didn't know what was going on. So he didn't help his brother because he didn't understand. And when the adults noticed and came in panic, they blamed him for not having helped the brother. So you can imagine how horrible Ray Charles felt all his life. He was having nightmares about this and feeling chased about the guilt of having been responsible for his brother's death. And he lost his eyesight within not much after this terrible accident happened. So when somebody is blind, there is the need of deep inner work to transcend whatever is so painful that you'd rather live without seeing that in your life, or that you cannot see or not see that thing. And we've had also success stories from people that came to the ClearSight method being blind, and they improved greatly their eyesight. And not just with me, you have the story of Aldous Huxley, and there's also Mary Snyder, that's a very well-known vision educator, who was born with congenital cataract. He had surgery at age 5, between 5 to 7, so he never saw anything, right, until very, very late. And well, he started practicing natural vision improvement at age 16, and by age, so having 1% of vision, and by age 28, he could get a driver's license without glasses, having 70% of vision. And I see, Diana, that you have his book also that you want to show. Yeah. So that's another story that can be read and found. So people that are blind can also, at least in certain cases, recover eyesight, and if not recover it 100%, at least improve it to an extent that it makes a huge difference in their quality of life. Yeah. So that's you. Well, I invite you to give it a try. Pamela, you haven't said anything yet. I don't know if you'd like to add a few words before we move on.
Sure. Well, I can say I know that this part of the free course for me was a really eye-opening, as well as many other people. I had myopia and astigmatism, and everything started when I moved or start the university. So for me, it was a very huge change in my life. I have to get out of my mother's house, start from zero in a new town hall where it was the university. So I start having problems and feel a lot of insecurity and a lot of fear for the change. And so when I did this exercise that you invite us to do, when start, right, what's going on with my life, it was really open for me. So I wanted to share that experience. And still, for me, sometimes I don't use glasses anymore, by the way. After 18 years of being using glasses for myopia and astigmatism, I don't use it anymore. But time to time, the vision, right, can flows. And I remember myself, right, like everything is going to be good. Don't worry it. Don't panic. Don't stress. Don't be afraid of the future, because sometimes when we also have myopia, we are always, thinking in the future what's gonna happen, and things that maybe are not gonna happen, but you have a lot of thoughts about it. So I always remember to stop and be in the present. So thank
Yeah.
you also for that great tool.
Thank you. For a lot of people, this information is life-changing, eye-opening, and mind-blowing, and life-changing. And of course, we go a lot more in-depth in the advanced program and give a lot more tools. And there's other symptoms that we also talk about in there. Thank you, Pamela, for sharing your experience. And you, after recovering your eyesight, you went on to become a vision educator, and you took training with me and also with other schools. And it's very, very nice to see that you're also part of the movement, like Diana Maria
Yes.
might being trained. Yeah, great. Okay, and thank you all for coming and sharing your experiences also. And let's answer now to some questions that sometimes come when we're talking about the third lesson about the emotional root causes of vision problems. And people sometimes ask, but what if the symptom is from birth? Well, guess what? Where did you live before you were born? In your mother's womb. She was your universe. And guess what? Your mother can also have had a challenged pregnancy, not the pregnancy necessarily itself, but a challenged period of life while she was pregnant of you. So you may want to talk with your mother about what she was experiencing, so that you would be born with a symptom, because children until the age of 7, they're like emotional sponges of what's happening around. Yeah. I was born with myopia, strabismus, and amblyopia. And thanks to my parents, that was solved very quickly before I was 1 year old. But when I learned about this information and I went to talk to my mother about how her pregnancy was, I could understand why she was afraid and why I would be born with myopia. Yeah. And if you've been told that it is genetic, well, now with epigenetics, we know that that genes are turned on or off depending on things that are related with our lifestyle, right? Genes are like a set of switches that can be turned on or off. And what turns them on or off? Well, guess what? Besides exercise and nutrition, also how you feel, what you think, how are your relationships, how you see life, etc., etc. So if it's genetic and it runs in the family, which is the next question, guess what? Probably in your family, you share the same emotions, the same thoughts, the same norms, the same codes of behavior, the same views of the world. And the good news is that if you choose to, you can change that. And then you can be the first person that sees clearly in your family, and you can let that run in your family, right? Let clarity run in the family from now on. And how about for children, when children are 6 or 7 or 5 and they start having eyesight symptoms? Again, children are balls of emotions. They're feeling their emotions very intensely. We sometimes have the impression that they're just happy beings, but they're also sad, they're afraid. They can be feeling also a lot of what's going on with the adults around them. Yeah. And they can also be expressing the tensions that they feel around them. Maybe they're not the ones that have the challenges, but the adults that live with them. And that's how those are expressed. Yeah. And if you don't remember what might have been going on when you developed the symptom, you could ask people that are older than you or that knew you at the time, maybe friends, maybe parents, maybe grandparents or uncles and aunts. Maybe they can give you some information about what was going on at that period of time in the family. And if you really don't find absolutely anything, even when you talk to other people, well, guess what? Maybe you're one person that belongs to that 12% of people that cannot find an emotional correspondence. I'm not sure I explained this about my research in this live. I think I didn't. So I did research on this with Dr. Anastasia Meidani. And we found that in 82% of cases, people spontaneously would very quickly and very easily find the emotional root cause of the vision problem. Yeah. And in 6% of the cases, people wouldn't find it immediately. And they would say things like, no, there was nothing particular going on in that period of time. My father died. Or I cannot really find anything strange. I got fired of my job. Or I really don't know. I moved to another country. So it was interesting because they would say that there was nothing special happening and then mention one of the 5 most stressful events that one can live in life, like losing a job, or getting a divorce, or getting fired, or moving, or like things like that. Yeah. And somebody dying. So in the end, it was 88% of people that their eyesight symptoms started corresponding to a stressful moment. And for that 12%, we cannot be certain if there was nothing, really nothing, or if there was, but they couldn't remember. And sometimes forgetting, and this is known in psychology, is a protection mechanism. You forget actually the things that are hard. So if you don't remember anything, maybe there wasn't anything happening and the cause of the eyesight symptom doesn't have an emotional root cause, could be. The other possibility is that there was actually something and you forgot. And it's fine. Whatever it is, it's fine. It could be that the meaning appears afterwards or that the emotion is released when you're using one of the other levels of the ClearSight method. So I would like to know at this point, what did you take away from this lesson and from this information? What has been your aha moment or your main idea or your understanding, or what has inspired you? I would like to know that. And a lot of people told us that with the first 2 lessons, they already had got the equivalent of 300 euros or dollars of value for the explanations and the tips and the exercise that we were sharing. And today we've given you even a lot more. But do you want even more? We have more. We have more for you. So what do we have? Well, first, do you want to improve your vision in a lasting way? Do you want to keep improving, but not just have an example here and there that you can actually see clear for a moment, or that you can see clear with your own eyes, but you don't experience it in a day-to-day fashion or way. So if you want to improve your vision in a lasting way, well, video 4 is released tomorrow. And in video 4, we're going to teach you even more. Yes? So we're going to tell you about the 6 scientifically validated levels to improve your vision. If this emotional level didn't talk to you, don't worry, there's 5 others. Yeah, up to now, you already discovered a little bit of 3 of them: the physical level with the muscles and the relaxation and the exercises. We also spoke about light and energy. And today we talked about the emotional level. Well, guess what? There's 3 more. So with those 3 more, you can also keep improving your eyesight naturally. Yeah. So there are 3 more: nutrition and a couple more. So surprise, surprise, you're going to discover it in video 4 tomorrow. Yes, also tomorrow, we're going to open the registration for the ClearSight Method program. So we're going to keep giving information for this free 4-part masterclass, but we'll also open registration because a lot of people have been asking us, I want to go deeper, I want more help, I want to be guided with you and your team, and I want to be part of the group, and I want the whole thing, the whole program. So tomorrow we open registration. You'll discover everything that's included in the ClearSight Method, besides giving more information. So in lesson 4, we're going to explain to you the 6 scientifically validated levels to improve your vision. We're going to explain to you how you can install your daily habits to see clearly again. We'll also we'll introduce the ClearSight Method Advanced program. We'll explain the benefits. We'll tell you what are the stuff that you're going to get and the bonuses. And we have put together a very amazing set of bonuses to go with the program. We'll explain how you can register and much, much more. So you don't want to miss tomorrow's video. And there's going to be a celebrating live on Sunday also. And if you're wondering if it works for your symptom, yes, it does. And we're going to tell you how we have 35 plans of exercises by symptom. So you're going to find your symptom for sure. Plus, today we've explained plenty of them and we've had plenty of testimonials. If you wonder if it works at your age, yes, we've already told you. From 6 months old, that was me. We've had participants in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s that have improved their eyesight greatly. So, and every age in between. So it does work at your age. Does it work if you had surgery? Yes. And if you hadn't had surgery, also. And if you want to avoid surgery, also. And so the question is, do you want to create the habit of seeing clearly every day? And that's your choice. And if you do want, we're here to help you do that. Yeah. And how do you think you will feel seeing clearly again? Because when you start seeing clearly, you become empowered. A lot of people think that it's impossible to improve your eyesight. So you would be doing the impossible, like many of us have done it before, right? So if we can do it, you can do it. And once you feel that empowered, it's amazing. And also, it's very practical. I mean, seeing clearly allows you to do so many more things. You are autonomous, you're free, you feel a lot younger, you feel more beautiful, more pretty. And you can enjoy the dimensions of life and feel that you're part of it and enjoy the beauty of life, the colors, the shapes, the 3D. It's really amazing. So imagine how you will feel seeing clearly again. But not just at the moment when you start seeing clearly again, but also how will you feel in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years? How will you feel knowing that you are the owner of the quality of your eyesight? And that instead of seeing worse and worse with age, like most people do, that you'll keep having an optimal eyesight for life. And what do you think that means for your family? How will that impact your family? Not only that you'll become a model for them, but also that you won't have the dependencies that come with not seeing well. And how about being the first person that makes that clarity runs in the family? Yeah, that seeing well runs in the family. That would be amazing, right? Okay, and again, what if you do nothing? Well, chances are that if you don't do anything, well, you'll keep needing the bothering glasses, the expensive glasses. At some point in time, you start needing surgeries, and your eyesight will progressively get worse and worse, besides the high costs of glasses, drops, surgeries, and then the glasses that you need after the surgeries again. So you already know that path. Probably you've been actually walking it for years now, and you're not going to feel any better losing your eyesight progressively with age. So it's your choice. It's your choice. I am saying, testify saying, thank you for your unselfish love. I couldn't get anywhere in this world. Well, I'm very happy that you're feeling that way, and we have more for you. But again, this is your choice. So you need to make up your mind and choose. Are you just interested and you are happy to have some interesting information about eyesight and vision? Or do you really want to do something and change your eyesight for good and see clearly again? Yeah, your choice. We're here to help. And I have good news. So tomorrow you're going to get a great offer for the most advanced, complete and updated version of the ClearSight method, with lots of whistles and bells, lots of systems of support, and lots of bonuses. But we'll introduce that in tomorrow's video. Yeah. And if you're not interested in the advanced program, it's also okay. And I also invite you to see the video, because you'll also learn a lot that you can use. So tomorrow you're going to get a great offer. And in any case, I want to congratulate you for being here, for watching this video, for reaching lesson number 3 and live number 3. Tomorrow we start lesson number 4. The celebration of the end of the Wake Up Your Eyes free 4-part masterclass will happen on Zoom on Sunday. And there you'll have the opportunity, we'll have the opportunity to see each other's faces, that it will be more intimate. You'll also get to know some of the people in my team. They'll introduce themselves. There will be other participants, and we'll feel like a family gathering for having a drink, like coffee or water or tea. Yes, and keep making steps to take care of our eyesight, improve our vision, and have a better life. Yeah, have more well-being and more health. So this was it for me. Again, congratulations for reaching this point. I wait for you tomorrow in video number 4. And in the meantime, take care, be happy, enjoy the beauty of life. And I look forward to seeing you soon, and better, and for you to see better. Bye, bye, bye.